Stop dodging. Well, I can't tell people what to do, but what I can do is provide my insights on some of the wonderful maps that we have in this game. Today, I'm going to talk about the Passage. Currently in the ranked rotation, it is the one I am favoriting. This map originated from Red Bull El Renado back in 2024. And if we have a brief look at it, you can see massive water in the middle, so much fish, and a whole heap of relics as well. This generation has a lot. Shallows where you can cross, those become important. And back at home, you kind of just have everything you need to get yourself started. Now, I enjoy this map. This map took me from 1250 to 1400 the first time it was in the random map pool. And at the moment it's getting me up towards the 1600 mark. Maybe, maybe not. Check out my Twitch channel if you want to see how that is progressing. But regarding the map itself, so I have seen a lot of games on this map. We also had this in Gert by Sea at the back end of 2025. And that means I have seen a lot of strategies and a lot of things that I have learned about what to and not to do on this map. So, you have your full starting res. You have 2 boars. You have your 4 sheep under your TC plus 4 more, 2 lots of 2. And then you'll get 3 or 4 deer to push. That is a lot of food. That's really good. We also have a look at the narrow shallows crossings. That means you have got the opportunity to, say, wall up and get your docks down and just start fishing, start fighting on water. You're going to need to do all that. And the relics, they are in the middle, as I showed you before. They are on shallows. You do need transports to get to them, which can be very, very time consuming in the mid-game. Finding where they are and how many there are. There can be 5, there can be a lot more than 5. So this one has got, looks like it's like 9 relics or something. That is a lot. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 relics on this map. So it can be 5. I've seen 10 as well. So lots to look out for when you're in the mid game on this map, trying to get those relics. Now, early game on this map, hybrid build, naturally. That will be 5 to 6 on the food, 5 on wood, or even 6 on wood. Get your dock down in the middle of that. Start fishing, 3, maybe 4 fishing ships. Go up 20 vils plus loom, maybe 21 vils, depending on the speed of things. And after that, you fight on water. Well, there's a few alternatives to that. Firstly, could you fast castle? There's enough food to do it. I would go with yes. You definitely can. There's enough time to not be pressured on land where land won't impact your fast castle, especially if your opponent's playing meta. But I just don't know what the follow-up is, because you're just giving up water, and you're probably giving up water and map control of the water. Yes, you can just go redock after that, but it just doesn't feel like it's got that. It doesn't feel like there's a big advantage from doing so. So I'm not that big on it. You can do it. As I said, lots of food to utilize, so you can definitely make it work. I just don't believe it's the right way. Now, you also want to maybe consider some walls, potentially as well. If you're going for big walls, they would look something like dock, wall like this, and then wall to the bottom. Because you'll be on like one side of the shallows. You've got 2 little crossings here. You'll be on one side. Your opponent will be on the opposite to you. Pretty much guaranteed to be on the opposite. So if you look at it from the perspective of blue here, you could dock and then do the same regarding the walls across that way and then down towards the edge of the map. Because, and the purpose that you would want to at least even partially wall, is because of the potential for a sneak. Now, when full navy is out on this map, getting a villager across is very hard. You kind of need to push the navy away and then walk a villager across, or you need to spend money on wood on a transport and transport across. Both of those can be really hard to do, especially if your opponent is paying attention. But in Dark Age, there's nothing really that can stop except the scout. And that means that is the perfect time to walk across. You could, these crocodiles are not going to impact you, so there are no predators that can stop you. What you could do is drop your dock and run off straight away. That's an option, especially if you're a civ that can get a dock down really quickly. Maybe your opponent is still pushing deer. You can get across and you just wait. You just hang out and you wait until you can drop buildings. If you don't believe in yourself on water, or you haven't got the right civ matchup, I recommend it. I think you have to try and get across. Otherwise, well, you're just playing a worse civ, right? And you're expecting that your opponent makes either mistakes or just doesn't have the macro game that you do to be able to beat them. So that means, assuming there's no sneaks, we get a full water game. That will be double, triple dock galleys. You could play fires. You should try to play galleys. There is ample space to micro. You should try to play galleys. If you do sneak, well, you're hoping that you can get serious damage in. A lot of the times, there'll be no barracks from your opponent at all. So if you're coming in with even man-at-arms or archers, 5 archers plus fletching or even no fletching, there is a long road back before those archers can be killed. If you're paying attention to them, they get to snipe vills, they push vills off res, they force a tower. There's a lot of things that they do that is really good. Man-at-arms, similar idea. If you can get some arson, of course, as well, you can knock down some buildings. And it can be really hard. Now, sometimes you'll come up against people that will just try to brute force land army across the map. So in the mid-game, you're battling navy, maybe you start to notice, oh, hang on, that navy's dropping, we're winning it. And then you just get hit by 10 knights running across and you've never built a barracks. Absolute disaster. A couple of things that you can think about here. More secure walls. So maybe Castle Age, you start thinking about the stone walls to finish off what else you've got. This is a very odd wood line here, by the way. But you can finish off with some stone walls. You can also have your docks placed that kind of block some of the area off, and then demo your way into defense. Especially good if there's infantry trying to cross. So insurance demos. I do believe in the insurance demo. You get 1 or 2 waiting in your docks. This is the map where an insurance demo can come in extremely valuable. The last part regarding the mid-game, or even the early game, is what happens if you lose water. If you lose water on this map, you have 2 routes to try and get back. The best option is to just try to absolutely smash down docks. There you've got a massive shoreline, right? Your opponent is going to struggle to see all the shoreline at once. So you've lost water. I think you try to get like 1,000 wood. You drop 6 docks at once. You send all, like in this example, you take all these vills. You just drop 6 docks, because if you send 1 vill for 1 dock, 1 patrolling galley will see it, and then that vill will die. And 1 dock is not going to get you back on water. If you want to get back on water, you're going to need a large number that can stay up for long enough to get you an army to help push you back. Because then as soon as your opponent is pushed away from the shoreline, you can start adding more docks. Now you could boom. I'm not a big fan of the boom, because the imp timing is also important. Because once imp comes in, siege ships can start taking all this down. The other route, if your opponent is patrolling the shoreline kind of well, is you kind of have to do it with a castle, and it has to be that pre-imp castle drop, because again, the siege ships will take you down, and you need to get that castle on the shoreline, and then you can dock underneath it. But the best route is probably just try to get somewhere else. You look at how much shoreline you've got access to here. Just get to the corners and just drop 5 or 6 docks straight away. In late game, if the gold runs out, problems. I've had 1 or 2 games where the gold has run completely dry. The game just turns into, well, a trash war again, right? Just turns into a post-imp trash war. You can't do much else than that. So try not to have that happen. And also, that's where the Portuguese are just really good on this map because of the Feitiçarias. And it also increases the relevance of the relics. If you get control in the mid-game of the water, or if you just get an opportunity where maybe you're controlling your half of the water, your opponent's kind of got their bottom half, their half, try to get a monk out, get a couple of relics, bring it back. It all helps if you can. I think that's pretty much it regarding this map. It's actually quite simple. If you were to wall up, if you were to play docks, it is just full navy. Person who wins the navy battle wins the match. That's it. That's what you can play towards. The sneaks are what make it a lot more difficult. And that's something that you really, really should consider. Again, I reiterate, if you don't have the civ that is better on water. Now, in this case, I think both Vikings and Portuguese will just back themselves in on water. But if you don't have the civ to win on water, you need to try to mix it up, because meta 2-dock, 3-dock galleys is just slowly prolonging what is not going to work for you. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully the comments there are of some use. As I said, this is a map that I really, really enjoy. I've played close to 40 games on it now, and won about 70% of them, which has been quite good. So it's something that I have learned a bit about, and I've been able to get some good results on them, and a little bit of experience, at least at my level, and hopefully some of those tips were of use. So let's have a look at some of the civs that are viable here on the passage. You can see they are the ones that are currently starred. They've all got their little bonuses or quirks that I think have got some value in either one or many situations on this map. So we've got Armenians, Bengalis, Britons, Dravidians, Italians, Japanese, Koreans, Malay, Mongols, Persians, Saracens, Vikings, and Wu. So if we go back to what this map is about, we're of course thinking about those strong navy civs. That is pretty much everyone here. The two probably notable exceptions there would be the Britons, and I like the Shepherds working faster bonus. It just means you can get to your fishing ships a bit earlier. And of course, these guys do have a full dock. They're not a top tier civ on the map, but they've just got that little bonus. It does help out a bit. And the Mongols as well. It's a similar idea. Their hunters working so much faster means that their situation with their start can be quite clean as well. And of course, with both of these civs, you've got very oppressive land units that you can go for. So if you do end up sneaking, they are quite good with their fast starts. So I don't mind them. However, to pick the number one civ on this map, there are maybe 2 civs that I think are quite good. It's hard to split, I think, between the Portuguese in case a game goes late, because you get Feitoria and therefore your gold never runs out. But the number one for me is the Vikings, because you have got, well, wheelbarrow hand cut free just means that your economy kind of just runs a lot smoother. You're often on one town center here, which just means that things tick along really, really nicely. Docks are cheaper. Again, so that helps the early game. That helps the mid game when you're pumping out docks. The warships are cheaper, which is awesome as well. But the big one is related to the longboat, along with their unique tech that helps as well. But this boat, once you get to Castle Age, once you can start getting this boat out, it just dominates the water. Full on will beat everything else that exists once you get the numbers out. It'll take down a bunch of buildings. It'll take down towers. Probably don't fight against castles with it unless you've got like 50 of them. But it's just such a good unit. And if you can just get to Castle Age with the Vikings, you're going to be in a very, very strong position. That ends this little rundown on the passage. I hope you enjoyed my little mid-ELO map guide here. And that means the next time the passage comes up in your rank ladder, you don't Alt F4, you don't dodge, and instead you go and have a fun little game on something a little bit different to what you may normally be used to.